Hi, welcome to another edition of Talking Shakers, where we'll be looking at Bury's 4-1 defeat to Carlisle and looking ahead of the matches against Wycombe and Scunthorpe this week. So they lost 4-1 at the weekend against Carlisle. It doesn't sound like it was really a 4-1 game, so what happened to Bury?
Well, they were actually, I would say, playing the better football, and I know Richie Barker would agree with that because he said so after the game, but the problem is, at 1-1, and probably pushing for a winner, in fairness, 13 minutes to go, Phil Picken, right back and captain for the day, loses possession on the touchline, and the substitute Jordan Cook runs away from him and unfortunately slots the ball past Trevor Carson to make it 2-1, and you can just see the wind going out of Bury's sails then, and they never got another look in, unfortunately. Then they gave a daft penalty away. I mean, there's arguments as to whether it was a penalty. I've not seen it again, but it probably was a bit soft. 3-1 and suddenly, 4-1 with virtually the last kick of the game. Not really a fair result on the reflection of play, but if you give stupid goals away, that's what happens, and it doesn't. The league table doesn't assess you on how well you've played. It's about results, unfortunately.
So what do you make of Richie Barker's response to this then?
I think he's up to now he's been a very good advocate for his side, but he's now very angry and for justifiable reasons, because he keeps being let down by his players. He said himself he's been loyal, possibly too loyal to a lot of them, and he's now starting to get quite ruthless. But you've got to be, because it's a dog-eat-dog environment that they're in.
Well, he's obviously acted to bring in Nathan Clark. Do you think he's going to prove to be a good signing?
Well, already, even though they lost 4-1, Nathan Clark and Sodji, who he used to play with at Huddersfield, Clark's come in on loan from Huddersfield, where he's been out in the cold for about 12 months, looked a far more solid central defensive partnership. And one hopes that really that's going to carry on, and they need to sort. But what they need to do now is sort the wide areas out, because that's where the silly, unforced errors keep coming. But in fairness to Scars and Picken, 90% of the time they're really good players, but they need to concentrate. That's the thing.
Well, they've possibly been two of the better players for the season as a whole.
And it's a shame because they've got that lovely team spirit, or have had, and you want them to stick together and do well and what have you, but it's at this stage of the season particularly, there's obviously a mental side to the game, and maybe one or two of them are being found out a little bit at this level.
Well, we know we've got Wycombe on Saturday, Scunthorpe on Tuesday. Do you think that a win in either of those two games completely turn it around, or are they still going to be in a relegation battle?
I think a win on Saturday, if they can get one, will be massive, because it will get them up to 44 points. It'll probably lift them about 4 or 5 places up the table. They'll be put them a bit of breathing space between them and the relegation zone, and it gets them nearer to that magic total of 50 points, which they've always been talking about for safety, and that will be key. I mean, Barker said we've got 10 cup finals, and the first one is on Saturday against Wycombe.
And of course, Alan Nill's returning to the gig lane this week on Tuesday. Do you think he'll get a good return?
Well, I hope he does. I just hope some of the less sort of intelligent members of the crowd decide not to sing some rather unsavoury songs about him, because that's what happened, unfortunately, at Scunthorpe, and I hope that doesn't happen. Yeah,
I think we all hope that. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week for another edition of Talking Shakers.